Hey, Marcus Washington, MTC Media, taking a look at Jaxson Dart, Shadeur Sanders, obviously amongst the rookie quarterbacks. Both of them had a weekend that would give the teams and the organizations that drafted them, a little bit of good feelings, even though it's the first preseason game and obviously it's preseason. Um, but both showed that they're on the right track, that what's been put in so far, that they have an understanding of it. Doesn't mean that they're perfect and everything else. I thought one of the best statements made about Jaxson Dart yesterday was, even if he didn't complete the pass or whatever, he was making the right reads. In Shadeur Sanders' case, because of the style offense that they played in Colorado, you really wanted to see, could he make what's considered quote unquote pro throws. And he got off to a good start doing that. He missed a couple. There was the one when he gets out to the pocket to the left. It's kind of one of those touch floaters that was over the receiver's head down towards the sideline. If you watch the game, you know which pass I'm talking about there in the first half. But both of them gave good reason for their organizations to kind of be happy. And now, things are going to get more complicated as you put more things in. I don't think that, Dart has to worry about it in the sense of, in week one, unless there is something that really happens to Russell Wilson, I don't think that he has to worry about starting in week one. As we're speaking today, keep that in mind, I don't think that Shadeur Sanders is going to start in week one either. So, and their quarterback room is a lot more banged up. But I will say this, and I think this is very important, and this is going to take it out of these quarterbacks' hands for a second. In the NFL, it is very important for the quarterback room to be a learnable environment and to have a culture. And if you want an example of that not happening, look at the Raiders for the last 1-2 generations. It's why young quarterbacks were never, ever, ever going to succeed there. Whether it was Jamarcus Russell, whether it was Todd Marinovich, and I can go on and on and on and on and on, they weren't going to succeed there because that was just not an environment for them to succeed. It's also why the Cleveland Browns, when going all the way back to the Tim Couch days and stuff, why they've blown through quarterbacks. You see the situation. That's where I think that Dart is in a much better situation than Shadeur Sanders. In Dart's case, you got a guy who's a stopgap in Russell Wilson, who's a veteran, who's won a Super Bowl, been to 2 Super Bowls, who's trying to revive his career. So what he wants is, in his mind, not only play on the field, but in the quarterback room, he has to be attractive to another team, because he knows that the Giants aren't isn't a long-term solution, right? He knows that unless he wants to retire, he knows that there's going to be another stop for him. So it behooves him to be that good veteran bridge quarterback to Dart. And then you have Jameis Winston, who, just like Mike Vick in many ways, have figured out how to be a second, third string quarterback in this league and continuously get paid to be that. There is a job skill to that. Everyone cannot do that. And Winston has figured it out. And I think that's also something that's very, very positive for Jaxson Dart, because you're not going to have a guy who's going to undermine him or to be standoffish towards him. He's going to try to help in the Jameis way. But he's always going to try to help because he knows this is how he stays in the league and continues to collect checks and continues to move towards having a full share in the pension. All that stuff counts. And I know it's not a popular thing to talk about in a bar or when you're arguing with your friends in the basement, but all that stuff counts. Whereas in Shadeur Sanders' case, you have the clusters of all clusters in that quarterback room. You have 5 guys fighting and scrapping and scratching and everything else. Flacco trying to stay in the league. You have the Predator out there whose quarterback, his personal quarterback coach, feels like he'll be healthy in the first half of the season. He was on Bomani Jones. They'd be healthy in the first half of the year, and then it'll be up to whether Cleveland wants to play him or not. And he didn't sound like he knew whether Cleveland wants to play him or not. And then you have the other guys who are also in the quarterback room. So you have all of that. That is not an environment for a young quarterback to succeed. So the coaching staff and the front office and all the yapping they're doing, I guess, to try to push Sanders in his place and all that. And none of that is a successful environment, and that doesn't build a successful environment. That doesn't build a culture. That doesn't build a quarterback room that young quarterbacks can succeed in. And it's why, this is no offense to Sanders, this is why I feel like Jackson Dart's situation, as we speak today, is a healthier situation than Sanders' situation. And it's why I have a little bit more confidence in the Giants now. Things can change, because in a year or two, if they decide to flip the Giants staff, we could be having a completely different conversation. But this is why I feel like the Giants situation right now is the much better situation. And Jaxson Dart will have a better chance of being able to be successful in this league, or being able to be more successful early on in this league than Shadeur Sanders, or, by the way, any other young quarterback in the Cleveland Browns quarterback room. It's just not a healthy situation. It's Mark Smarts, MTC.